Hi everybody, welcome to Lena Unedited. We've got a bit of an interesting topic of conversation today, and it's been caused by where I'm currently finding myself today. We're going to be talking today about what it feels like to be trying to get work and run businesses and do all your social media, get things going when chronic illness punches you in the gut. So effectively, today's title is going to be When Your Body Has Other Plans. And I'm doing it for two reasons. One, I feel like there's a lot of people that don't truly understand, from my perspective and people that have chronic illnesses perspective, what it actually really feels like when you're still really ambitious and you're still really driven and you want to do lots of things and you've got lots of ideas, but either your body or your mind just shuts down on you. There are definitely going to be moments today when I'm really going to be struggling. I'm doing this from my bed, recording it from bed. I've really struggled today. And last week I had a struggle as well. I got home from, I think one of the biggest problems is you don't know when it's going to hit. So I've had weeks and weeks and weeks of just great, body was fine. Then last Saturday I came home from being at an exhibition and hanging out with some friends. Didn't get home too late. It was like 8:30, I think, by the time I got home. But I could start to feel something wasn't right. And I went to bed probably about 10:30, 11, which is quite early for me. And I didn't end up getting out of bed until the following Thursday morning. So that was from Saturday last weekend to Thursday this weekend, last week. Yeah, and it hit me really hard because I had to cancel work. I had to cancel projects and jobs and meetings. I even had to postpone a meeting with family who were over from New Zealand that I was meant to do a catch up with them. Luckily, I did end up catching up with them on Thursday morning before they flew out. See, this is where my brain's not working. Sorry, I've also got no makeup on today, so it's going to be a little bit rambly. But I wanted to talk about it while I was in the midst of it. I think I've done one previously with my mental health stuff where I was in the midst of a major depression and really struggling. So I thought it was really important to try and do that with this as well. So I came right by Thursday, still took it easy on the Thursday, I did a little bit of work, but not too much. Friday I worked, that was great. And then Saturday, I went out and did a few bits and bobs and did some shopping and picked up my medications and everything. I was still feeling quite tired, but I knew the next day I was supposed to be going and helping somebody with the National Garden Scheme, which was yesterday, helping them sell their plants. I'd volunteered to do that, and I had to go all the way to Muswell Hill, which is, for me, and by the time we sort of got there, it was about an hour and a half's travelling. And I had a great day. I overdid it. I didn't end up getting home last night, so I left here at about 11 yesterday morning. I didn't get home until 9:30 last night. And my body is suffering as a result from it. But that's just setting the scene as to where I am at the moment. I want to try and get people to try and understand what it's like, because I often feel like I'm letting people down. I can't do the things I've promised I said I was going to do. I'm not able to turn up at things and what have you. And I hate letting people down. It's something I really emotionally feel really horrible about when I have to do it. So to help me out today, I do this sometimes when my brain's not working particularly well. I've actually gone to ChatGPT to get it to get me some questions so that I'm going to go through and answer them, that hopefully brings out the information that I want to communicate with everybody today. So one of the questions that's asked is, what does it actually feel like when my body very suddenly says no, and especially when my brain and ambition and plans are all saying yes, because I categorically have got so much ambition and so much drive emotionally inside of me, but right now everything is exhausted. I was too exhausted even to get in the shower today. I've had a wash, and I've washed my hair and brushed my teeth, and sorry, not wash my hair, brush my hair and had a face wash. I've had a wash, but I couldn't, my body physically couldn't get into the shower today, and that is just, I hate that. But I think what the difficulty is with it all is you make plans. A huge amount of unpredictability comes along with managing chronic illnesses. Some people have 1 or 2 chronic illnesses. I had 11 at one point. Luckily, as I'm working through things, some of these things are dropping away. So I'm sort of sitting at about, I think, 8 or 9, I can't remember, chronic illnesses that I'm managing. And sometimes even when they get better, what everybody has to be mindful of in this is that if I do anything slightly wrong, and the problem is you often don't know what the slightly wrong thing is. It could be just eating the wrong thing one day. It could be not having enough sleep. When you've got sleep apnea, that's quite difficult, and insomnia also quite difficult to get lots of sleep. Your body's not healing itself when it should be, which is through the sleep process. So there's lots of different things that can happen, and it leads for me to huge amounts of frustration, which I think is probably what's driving this conversation today. I also get frustrated with myself, but I get frustrated with other people not understanding. I think they see me doing lots of things and they expect that it's all fine. And a lot of the time it is. And they often think maybe I saw it coming. You don't see it coming. Now, could I have seen today coming? Yes, I think I could, because I knew that I was probably going to end up doing too much yesterday. Still did it anyway. Why? Because I didn't want to let somebody down that I'd promised that I was going to help. I think what's difficult about it is, like I said, it's unpredictable. It is hugely frustrating. You lose momentum in the things that you're doing. Like, I've got so much ambition on trying to get my businesses back on their feet, but every single time stuff like this happens, I lose momentum. I have to cancel things that I genuinely want to be doing. I want to be going to networking. I want to be going to meetings with people, doing work with people, client work. There's lots of stuff I want to be doing. And yet sometimes my body categorically, and my mind as well, gets impacted with some of the chronic illness stuff. I keep forgetting what I'm saying today, for example. And, my body's saying no, but there's so much of me that's wanting to say yes. So that's kind of answering that question. Sorry, this is going to be a bit all over the place today, everybody, because I'm trying to do questions, and normally I can just have a lot to say without worrying about questions, but today I'm needing questions. So the next question is, what is the hardest part of living with an invisible or unpredictable health condition that other people rarely see? Now, some of you guys who've known me personally or known me for a long time were with me and saw me when I was at my worst, where I couldn't get out of bed for months at a time. I lost the ability to be able to walk very far or walk at all sometimes. Loss of muscle, loss of balance, loss of so many things. And I think you now see me that, oh, she's back, she's out and about, she's doing things, and she's doing this and she's doing that. I think the difficult thing is for everybody, a lot of people, is they're seeing only one side of it, which is why I wanted to come on today, to try and give a bit more context for people so that I can understand what it actually feels like. Every single decision I make is calculated. Now, sometimes I get the calculations wrong. It's about, like I said, it's a mixture of, am I eating the right things? Am I having enough sleep? Am I doing the right level of work so that I'm feeling happy and driven and going forward? Or am I overdoing it? The problem with the overdoing it, sometimes it's predictable. Yesterday and today was clearly predictable. I knew this was going to happen. I still did it anyway, which is stupid. But anyway, I did. And I don't feel stupid because I enjoyed my day and I had fun with the people and we sold lots of stuff and it was for charity. So, and it was for helping a lovely friend. But sometimes you get the decisions wrong and you look back at it and you still can't figure out what you did wrong. The body that I am in sits on a very fine line of being okay and not being okay. It's a hairline, almost like a hairline fracture, for want of a better word. Like, you can't necessarily see it all the time, and looking after it is really difficult. And you don't always get it right. And when you look back, you still can't see what you did wrong. It's so every decision has a calculation behind it. You are trying to manage energy, which when you are bipolar, and at this time of the year I go a bit more manic than I do in the wintertime, purely because the serotonin kicks in and the world is happy and joyful and there's lots of people to see, and I'm an extrovert, so I love being with people and I expend lots of energy, but I gain lots of energy with people as well. But I do also get quite exhausted. The recovery time, again, can be unpredictable. 1 week, what I would have done yesterday, I will be fine the next day, or maybe I just need a little bit of a lie-in or something, and that'll be enough. The next week, I'll do exactly the same thing, and it will knock me out for an entire week. And that unpredictability is really hard when you're trying to manage businesses and time and energy and so forth. And I do try really hard to take the recovery time because I know that if I don't, it's going to get even worse. So that's part of the calculation decision thing. Cancelling of plans. Oh, I hate cancelling plans. I'm getting better at it, but I absolutely hate doing it because I've booked those things in using the calculated decision making. I've booked those things in because I thought my body and my mind could handle it. Cancelling is just letting people down, it's letting myself down, it's like having to stay home, it's all those kinds of things. I think the other thing I think is really difficult is that a lot of people just think I appear fine when I'm not. This happened yesterday when at the end of the day, before I came home, the host that was running the National Garden Scheme Open Garden, she put on some sandwiches and some food and a little bit of drink just to thank everybody that had volunteered. So I stayed probably longer than I should have for a start. And we were all talking about different things. And because the National Garden Scheme is a charity that supports health and wellness and nursing and hospice charities, the topic of conversation around why we'd all got into working, volunteering for the National Garden Scheme came up. And when I was talking, I'd explained what had happened to me 8 years ago, the illness that I'd had in the recovery, length of time that it's taken me to get back to some semblance of normality again. And they said, oh, well, you seem fine today. Bearing in mind there was a GP there and there was other people that have had chronic illnesses, and I said, oh, I'm hiding it because I'm in huge amounts of pain right now and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get home because I'm absolutely drop dead exhausted. And they went, oh goodness, but they were quite understanding because, some of them had had chronic illnesses as well. So the hardest bit is people don't see it, or they don't believe you when you tell them, and you constantly get this feeling like you're having to prove that you're sick, which is weird. I shouldn't have to prove I'm sick. That's just odd. But that's a constant feeling I get as well. And then there's the emotional side of it. What are the emotions that are coming up for me when I'm having to change plans because my body won't cooperate? Today's feeling is stress because I know there's certain things I wanted to get done today. When I fell asleep last night, I had a list of what I wanted to do with the business and different things, and I am feeling guilt. Yeah, I'm feeling guilt. I'm feeling disappointment, huge amounts of frustration. And of course, when you're frustrated, that brings stress, and stress on my body is not good. So I'm working, I think one of the reasons why I'm getting on today and talking about this is so that I feel less frustrated and feel more like I'm managing the situation. The fear of letting people down is absolutely massive, and I hate that feeling. And I hate feeling unreliable. I'm an older child. I was always the one that took responsibility for everything. So when I have to let people down, I feel ridiculously irresponsible, and I absolutely hate it. And I start disliking myself as a result of it. But here's the thing. I do logically know that taking the rest today is the right thing to be doing. I know it is. To the bottom of my soul, I know it is. The logical side, but the emotional side is all over the place and doesn't understand what this is happening, and I think it's not fair, and there's guilt, and there's annoyance, and there's frustration and anguish, and like, you know. So it's kind of emotionally how I'm feeling about it. The next question it's asking is sorry, ChatGPT is helping me. Has learning to listen to my body changed my relationship with success, productivity, and ambition? I guess my understanding of what looks like a productive day sits in two camps, actually. When I'm feeling really, really good, which is part of the problem, I start rushing at things a million miles an hour, which is my natural state, or has always been my natural state, to get going and do things and be productive and do lots of stuff and cross all the things off the list. The other half of me is very well aware that I need to be resting today and looking after myself. And I've done the most important things that I needed to do. I did them in my dressing gown. I did them, I did do them at my desk out there, but which is where I'm normally doing these recordings these days. I do really need to do the next one out and about, I think, once the weather starts getting a bit better. So I feel happy that I got probably half of the things done on my list today. What I have to get used to is not measuring myself against the old me, because the old me doesn't exist anymore as far as what I can do. And I think there's a huge amount of me comparing me to me a lot of the time. Not so much comparing to other people that I couldn't give a shit about, but it is definitely more measuring against myself. I do try really, really hard to listen to my body. Yesterday I fucked up. I'm going to be honest. I fucked up. In hindsight, I shouldn't have done it. I probably should have cancelled, but I'm really glad. On one hand, I'm really glad I didn't, because I feel like it was good that I was able to do the favour that I did for my friend. On the other hand, I'm now suffering as a result. So, what do you do? The next question that's asking is, what has chronic illness taught me that constantly pushing through never could? There's been a lot of good lessons, like self-awareness. I've always been a pretty self-aware person anyway, but I'm now, and this is part, I guess, of the calculated decision-making stuff, is you need to be self-aware and be listening to your body in order to understand how you can look after it better. You have to be patient with yourself, and anybody, including my parents, have ever known me, I am not the most patient person in the world at all. Least of all with myself. I have never been very patient with myself, and at the moment I'm trying really hard to be patient and kind to Lena. I'm not very good at it. I'm working really hard at it though, and I am getting better at it. Having empathy for myself and my body is something that I am learning to have. Setting boundaries, I'm getting better at that. There's something that I'm weighing up at the moment, an extra thing that I've taken on, and I'm weighing up that at the moment because I think I've taken on one thing too many. Which again is going to be a horrible thing that I need to deal with, because I'm feeling like I'm going to be letting people down by withdrawing. I haven't decided to withdraw from it yet, but I'm considering it because I need to look after myself, and I think I've taken on one thing too many. I think it has also made me be a lot more empathetic about other people as well, and understanding other people's invisible battles. I think I've always been quite good at that. But sometimes when I've been annoyed with people that haven't delivered or haven't done what they said, I may not have considered that there was other things underlying that they weren't just being a bit shit and a bit useless, that actually maybe there was invisible battles that was going on underneath that I was unaware of, whether it be physical or mental challenges. So yeah, so those are the things I think. Listen to my body. To be aware of what's going on so that can be calculated into any decisions I'm making. Be kind to myself, and to be clear about setting boundaries. Interestingly enough, boundary setting was the theme of my therapy. My therapist last year was setting boundaries. So I'm finding that really, really interesting. Sorry, something's just popped up on my phone. I have no idea why that is. As I'm recording. Fun. So the next question is, how do I balance respecting my limitations while still refusing to let them define who I am? Interesting, this topic of conversation came up in yesterday's chat after we had all sat down after our long day together. And I talked about, I never have wanted, I want to acknowledge what has happened, what I've gone through and what I'm going through, but I never wanted it to define who I am. I did not want my illness to be a defining thing. But I do need to respect that my body and my mind has limitations sometimes. And I think the thing that keeps me going is I haven't lost my ambition. I haven't lost my emotional drive and my wanting to achieve things and do things and leave a legacy behind in my life that is worth something. And I don't mean money, I just mean a legacy. I still want to create things, I still want to contribute, and I still want to do things, but I just have to be really mindful that energy wise that has to be different. And I want understanding from others about that as well. It's really hard when you want to be there for other people and want to support amazing projects and opportunities that come your way. You're right now, what I'm sitting in is I've taken on too many things, and that is an awful feeling, and it's an awful place, because I know I'm going to have to let people down with it, I think. So yeah, there's that kind of, but you do have to balance it, I think. I definitely will never allow it to define who I am, but I need to be aware of it, and I need to respect my body, listen to it, and respect the limitations that sometimes it has. I think I need to be kinder to myself today. Oh, this does feel like a therapy session. And that's really helping. And I think, I'm okay with not letting it define me. I think that's the right choice for me. May not be the right choice for everybody, but what I don't want to do is sit in a place of emotionally feeling like I'm in the space of illness all the time. It happens and it doesn't happen. I have to deal with it, but what I don't want to do is be defined by it, that's the thing I'm known for. Definitely not. That is not a legacy I want to leave behind, but I do want understanding from my friends, from my family, from my clients, from the people I work with, and society in general, because it gets a bit exhausting having to explain yourself constantly, I have to be honest. Which brings me to a really interesting question, which is, what does the world of work misunderstand about consistency, energy, and human capacity? So it's quite a fuck the status quo kind of answer to that, which is I think we need to challenge the idea that brilliant, good people, I'll be honest, I do consider myself a brilliant, good person, that we're always available. I think we've come into a world with all of social media and all of emails and phones and texts and WhatsApps and Telegram and all the different things that we're always available. I can't be all the time anymore. It's just not possible. And it's something in me, I hate not being available to people anymore, but it's exhausting and I can't do it. I can't always be switched on all of the time. I wish I could be, but sometimes, like today, I know it sounds like I'm working my voice and I'm communicating really well. You have no idea what is happening in here. I'm getting this out with so much energy that I'm expending to be able to string a sentence together and make my brain work and communicate, that by the time I finish this, I'm probably just going to go to sleep because I'm fucking exhausted and it's only 4:30 in the afternoon. Anyway, I think we have to be really honest with the fact that really good people can't always be available. They can't always be switched on. They can't always be performing. It's not good for us. When you've got chronic illness, it absolutely smacks you into the ground. So I think that's really important to understand as well. And that there's a very big difference between what I want to be able to give everybody and what I'm physically and mentally capable of being able to give. Now, sometimes my energy levels will allow me to give all of the time, be all of the on, and be all performing and what have you, and all switched on, but there's a whole lot of times when that, like today, doesn't happen, and all of last week mostly as well. And then the last question it's asking me is, what would I want someone else going through this to understand on the days their body has other plans? What would I want someone else going through this to understand on the days that their body has other plans? This is to all the people that suffer with chronic illness and yet have huge amounts of ambition and don't want to be defined by their illness. Slow the fuck down. Don't give up on your dreams, but do them more slowly. Methodical is not a bad place to be as long as you're going in the right direction. I think that is a thing that will matter to you. Understand why you're getting frustrated. Tap into yourself and try and figure out what it is that's frustrating you. Through this conversation with you all, I've had a bit of an epiphany that the frustration I've had is that I didn't want to let go of some of the things I've agreed to do and taken on, but I'm going to have to. Yeah, that's quite hard. I'll sit with that for a minute. Yeah, that's quite friggin' hard, actually. But it's also important to know that those moments are going to happen, and people with chronic illness tend to be stronger than most. You have to be to keep going. And I want you all to know that there are other people out there like me that completely get it, that understand, that if you ever need to talk to me, I'm available. Not all of the time available, obviously. We've just had that discussion. But I will always want to talk to people that are struggling with things that they're challenging and use my experiences to help people with what they're going through. I think it's really important to have the right people around you. If people don't understand and refuse to try and understand and just treat you like you're lazy or what have you, or tell you you're lazy or you're no good anymore or whatever, fuck them. Tell them to go away. Get them out of your life. You don't need people like that. What you need is good people, honourable people, decent, kind, thoughtful, people that will be okay if you have to cancel. Be okay if they try and ring you and you message them back and go, I can't do it today. Just can't do it. Those people are worth keeping. And I'm really lucky that the people in my life these days do understand that. And I know it must be frustrating for them sometimes when I'm having to cancel things last minute and so forth. Because sometimes if I have enough sleep, I can then get myself up a little bit later on and maybe go and make them for a coffee or whatever. But there are sometimes that I just can't. Be kind to yourself. Yeah, that's quite vital, I think. You're not a failure. There are plenty of things that you can do to follow your dreams. You might have to pivot. Oh, I fucking hate that word pivot, but anyway. You might have to pivot. You might have to do it in a slightly different way. But then you might be open to finding new hobbies, new interests, new things that might sit alongside the thing you might not be able to do anymore, or maybe just do it sometimes and not do it all the time. Maybe you could teach it. Maybe you could talk about it. Maybe you could write about it. If there's a physical limit, maybe there's other ways that you can still tap into that passion. So yeah, don't give up. Try and keep your dreams in front of you. Every single day is a win, waking up and opening your eyes, even if you're in pain, even if it's a day like I'm having today. Look what's come out of it. I'm having a nice chat to all of you and explaining to you what it really feels like to constantly have this stuff going on. So yeah, I want to thank you all for listening. You've now been let into Lena's boudoir. Look at that. And if you can help me with my ambitions of getting more subscribers, please subscribe. And please like this if you think the content was good. And please also make comments, ask questions. I want to be able to answer questions. And maybe that sparks another conversation on another episode. But anyway, thank you for listening to Lena Robinson, who is talking on Lena Unedited. And I will see you next time. Thank you very much. See you later.